proposition that existence precedes essence is a central claim of existentialism, which reverses the traditional philosophical view that the essence, the nature of a thing, is more fundamental and immutable than its existence, the mere fact of its being. To existentialists, human beings, through their consciousness, create their own values and determine a meaning for their life, because the human being does not possess any inherent identity or value. That identity or value must be created by the individual. By posing the acts that constitute them, they make their existence more significant. The idea originates from a speech by Schelling delivered in December 1841. Søren Kierkegaard was present at this occasion, and the idea can be found in Kierkegaard's works in the 19th century, but was explicitly formulated by philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre in the 20th century. The three-word formula originated in his 1945 lecture, Existentialism is a Humanism, though antecedent notions can be found in Heidegger's Being and Time. As a result, for Sartre, existence precedes essence not only defines and determines his own existential thinking or interpretation of existentialism, but also any thinking or philosophizing that declares itself to be existential. Despite Sartre's later efforts to distance himself and his thinking from this remark and its consequences, it has become the most quoted, repeated, and cited description of existentialism and any non-theistic existential thought. Purpose and freedom. The Sartrean claim is best understood in contrast to the scholastic thesis that essence precedes existence. A typical claim for this traditional thesis would be that a human is essentially selfish, or that they are essentially a rational being. To Sartre, existence precedes essence means that a personality is not built from a previously designed model or for a precise purpose, because it is the human being who chooses to engage in such enterprise. While not denying the constraining conditions of human existence, he answers to Spinoza, who affirmed that people are determined by what surrounds them. Therefore, to Sartre, an oppressive situation is not intolerable in itself, but once regarded as such by those who feel oppressed, the situation becomes intolerable. So by projecting my intentions onto my present condition, it is I who freely transform it into action. When he said that the world is a mirror of my freedom, he meant that the world obliges me to react, to overtake myself. It is this overtaking of a present constraining situation by a project to come that Sartre names transcendence. He added that we are condemned to be free. To claim that existence precedes essence is to assert that there is no such predetermined essence to be found in humans, and that an individual's essence is defined by the individual through how that individual creates and lives his or her life. As Sartre puts it in his Existentialism is a Humanism, man first of all exists, encounters himself, surges up in the world, and defines himself afterwards. This idea is often associated with existentialism, a philosophy that emphasizes individual freedom and responsibility. Existentialism posits that existence precedes essence. That is, the individual is first thrown into the world and then defines themselves through their choices and actions. For example, from an existentialist perspective, one might say that an individual who chooses to help others creates an altruistic essence, while an individual who chooses to harm others creates a different essence. It is this capacity to choose and act that makes each individual the creator of their own being. In summary, the idea that the individual is the sole creator of their own essence highlights the crucial responsibility each individual has to make conscious and thoughtful choices, as these choices shape both their lives and their identities. That's a core tenet of existentialism, particularly as articulated by Jean-Paul Sartre. The phrase, existence precedes essence, means that humans are born without a predetermined nature or purpose. Instead, they are free to define themselves through their choices and actions throughout their lives. Essence. In traditional philosophy, essence refers to the inherent nature or defining characteristics of something. For example, the essence of a chair is that it's something to sit on, and a tool is something used to perform a specific function. Existence. In contrast, existent simply means being or the state of being. The existentialist view. Existentialists like Sartre argue that humans are not born with a predefined essence. We are born and exist, and it is through our choices and actions that we gradually shape our own essence, our identity, radical freedom, and responsibility. This idea implies that humans have radical freedom and are responsible for creating their own meaning and values in life. Essence in philosophy refers to the intrinsic nature or definition of a thing, what makes it what it is and distinguishes it from others. It is often contrasted with existence, the fact of being, and accidents, contingent properties. Essence can also be seen as the form or nature of a thing, that which remains constant despite external changes. Intrinsic nature. Essence is what constitutes the fundamental nature of a thing, what defines it as what it is. Distinction from existence. Essence is distinct from existence, which is the fact of being, and from accidents, which are changeable and non-essential properties. Stability. Essence is often seen as stable and permanent, unlike accidents, which can vary. Form or nature. Essence can be seen as the form of a thing, its essential nature, or its definition. Abstract idea. In philosophy, essence can be seen as an abstract idea, a mental representation of the nature of a thing. The formula. Existentialism, particularly the variant developed by Sartre, posits that existence precedes essence for human beings. This means that unlike human-made objects where the essence, form, function, is defined before creation, human beings do not have a predetermined essence at birth. They are free to define and create themselves through their choices and actions. They are responsible for what they become. Traditionally, essence, nature, function was considered to come before existence. For example, a chair is created with the essence of a chair. It is made for sitting. Existentialism rejects this idea for human beings. We are not born with a predefined human essence that dictates our lives. We are free to choose and construct our own essence through our actions and choices. We are responsible for our own lives and what we make of them. Existentialism therefore emphasizes human freedom, individual responsibility, and man's ability to create himself. Responsibility. This idea, which suggests that each individual is the sole creator of their own essence, entails immense responsibility. This means that our actions and choices shape not only our own lives, but also how we are perceived and how our essence is defined. It is a profoundly existentialist view in which freedom and responsibility are intimately linked. In other words, if we consider that the individual's essence is not predetermined, but is constructed through their actions, then every choice becomes a creative act. This perspective emphasizes the importance of self-awareness and reflection on the consequences of our actions as they contribute to the construction of our being. This idea is often associated with existentialism, a philosophy that emphasizes individual freedom and responsibility. Existentialism posits that existence precedes essence. That is, the individual is first thrown into the world and then defines themselves through their choices and actions. For example, from an existentialist perspective, one might say that an individual who chooses to help others creates an altruistic essence, while an individual who chooses to harm others creates a different essence. It is this capacity to choose and act that makes each individual the creator of their own being.